Hello everyone, this is OG. Nice to have you all again. Today we're going to have a very interesting topic, and I have a very interesting guest today from WRK.com, the CEO of the company. We're going to talk about something that normally you don't hear a lot, which is automation and AI for the SMBs. Normally, we tend to focus either on the B2C side for people to do work and arm work, or B2B side, we typically tend to focus on large enterprises. Today, we're going to talk about this very interesting area that is, how do we take all those technology and embed them inside companies that are small and medium? So, Mo, nice to have you today. Nice to talk about this topic with you. Maybe have a quick intro for the audience here, please.
Sure thing. It's very nice to be on your show, Olivier, and yeah, looking forward to talk about automation and all things SMBs. So just by way of background, work.com was started, so WRK.com was started almost 6 years ago to really help cover a gap that was left unfulfilled specifically for small, medium-sized businesses that were interested in the idea of automation, that perhaps felt like some of the tooling in the market was either too basic or way overcomplicated and overkill for some of their business needs. And so for the last 6 years, what we've done is we really built a piece of software that would help organizations create digital versions of their internal processes using a library of pre-built Microsoft robots. And we'll get into all of that. But the thing that we love the most is how can we really help simplify the lives of business operators so that they can keep on running their business day in and day out and not really have to worry about fiddling around with, configuring tools and so forth.
Exactly. So remember that the idea here is not to go really deep into the technology, but instead to focus on the impact of the technology, the use cases, and the outcome that we are able to get from this technology. So again, the audience that we are aiming at today is really the SMBs, and we're going to start by trying to define what we mean by automation and AI or business process automation, right? Because very often people don't really understand what this is and what it means. So could you try to define in simple terms what BPA is?
Yeah. So really put yourself in the lens of the or the shoes of the business operator. You're running a company, you've got a number of employees. If you're an SMB, we'll probably say you've got anywhere from five all the way maybe to 100 employees. Let's just say that that's the range that we're going to be operating in. And so in any given day, you're coming into the office, you've got deliverables for your clients, you've got back office admin things that you've got to do, whether it's processing invoices or, shuffling around documents that need to be shipped somewhere, or dealing with the requirements from clients that are coming in. And so every day there's just sort of busy work that keeps your team busy. And so how are you going to address it more often than not in the SMB world? It's been the same solution for hundreds of years. Hire more people so they can produce more work. With the advent of what we're seeing now with automation solutions that exist in the marketplace, I'm sure some of you have probably already played with AI in a variety of different means. How can we use some of these technologies that are now sort of pervasively available everywhere to start developing solutions to get rid of this busy work that's happening every day? So for me, business process automation is pretty simple. It's how do you take something that is repetitive, that your team does every single day, and then delegate that responsibility to a piece of software so that it can do it on your behalf. And I want to sort of really gear our conversation today around the concept of not boiling the ocean. Meaning, we can try and think about automation as, oh, I need to replace everything that my team does. That's not the way to think about it. It's really how do we take it so that it amplifies and helps deliver these results more by more, and little by little, so that your team just has a little bit less and then a little bit less, and then hopefully a lot less to do over time. That to me is what business process automation is.
Yes, indeed. And it's very important as well to remember that when we are trying to inject technology inside a work environment, we are not always looking for extremely complex, extremely at the edge of the technology type of solution, right? Because very often what is eating up our bandwidth or a list of very mundane tasks, starting from, frankly, copy and paste, right? It could be something as simple as I'm doing far too many copy and paste, and I'm trying to address that. So, as you said, right, we are not here trying to boil the ocean. Of course, sometimes you go and you deploy more advanced solution, but it start the baseline, the the foundation of automation can be very basic and yet very often not correctly automated in most of the companies, right?
Yeah, and I'd like to also sort of put the audience at ease. This isn't exclusively an SMB problem. This is actually a business-wide problem. Without naming names, we were dealing with a major airline carrier in their cargo division, and their process that they needed to automate, which was sort of tracking the shipment status of certain cargo shipments. That was a process internally that had a Google Excel or an Excel spreadsheet, a Zendesk link, a bunch of emails, and some website that they had to log into to go get status updates. So these problem sets that exist in the SMB world are just as big as they are in, the large enterprise world. And it's all the same. It's exactly what you mentioned. It starts with simple things, copy, paste, getting information from a system, making sense of information across different screens, and then collating all this information together.
So when we deploy those technology inside an environment, what is typically the expected benefit?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost is really to think about efficiency. It's, having your team have one less thing to do that they don't have to otherwise worry about. Again, I think the most important thing is to really empathize with the user, to empathize with the employee who's coming in on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe even over the weekend, and having to do the same thing over and over again. What if we could take one and just make it so they don't have to another and then another and then another. What this ends up doing is twofold. Number one is it just creates incredible efficiency internally because that employee now no longer has to worry about, oh, I know every hour on the hour I have to go and do something. Like that's one less thing to do. The second thing is it opens up their opportunity or their ability to do more worthwhile work. You want to have your employees do higher value tasks for you, be able to engage more with your clients or your users, or be able to do more creative type of work and tasks or more strategic stuff, right? And then the third thing is there's also an element of cost saving, right? You will need to hire less people over time to produce a growing volume of work. And so efficiency, it's for me, it always starts with efficiency, and then it leads into cost savings, and then it leads into revenue expansion, and then it leads into innovation. Those are usually the four key things that we see with automation.
Yes, 100%. So it's both bottom line and top line that we are addressing at the same time when we are correctly identifying and addressing those use cases.